Hello everyone, my name is Christopher and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a pawn in Fusion 360. And if you don't have Fusion 360, you can follow along on Blender, Onshape, or really any other CAD 3D software. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do when I want to make a pawn is I'm going to go on Google and then just search up a pawn, because I don't really remember what a pawn looks like. So I'm just going to go through here and see. Okay, so all of them tend to follow this design around. This is probably the simplest one I'll find on here. And see there's a sphere up here, a little bit of a disc, and then this long section and some stuff down here. Alright, and the first thing I'm going to do actually is not going to be on Fusion 360. I'm just going to hop on my Paint software, open up a new tab, and then just imagine how I'm going to make this in 3D. Right, so you have, let's say, like a sphere up here, and then down here, that disc can be like a cylinder, maybe a rounded cylinder, right? And then right below that, like, it's almost curved, so I might have to make a revolve for this. And then the foundation, it's just going to be more of that same shape. And down here, it can just be a flat cylinder. So I can delineate about 3 main shapes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, now let's get to making. Actually, let's do 6. So that's another one right there. So 3.5. Alright, I'm going to hop on Fusion 360, which I already have open, and then go up to the top here, click New Design, click New Design, and then we're just going to start on Part Design. You can really do part, assembly, or hybrid, but I'm just going to be using part for this one. Alright, so now that this is here, I'm going to start off by making a sketch. Right up here, you see the Create Sketch option. And I'm going to start it off on the bottom face. And the first thing I'm going to make here is the bottom part of the pawn. So this would be part number 5, right? And I can do this by just creating a circle with the sketch tool. So let's see, a pawn or a chess piece is about, or a chess square is about 2 inches, right? So that's a diameter of 2 inches. And I want it to be a little bit smaller, and we can see that 2 inches is 50 millimeters. So why don't we do about, I think 30 is probably a good size for this. Just gonna use this snip tool, or this trim tool right here, to take off the outer circle, and then we just are left with this circle, right? I'm gonna finish my sketch, and then now that I have this circle down and I'm out of the sketch mode, I can use extrude or press E and bring the circle up. So if I go back to just looking at the pawn pieces, it's a pretty small amount for that bottom circle. So I'm probably just going to do about 3 millimeters or so upwards, and that's our piece. Alright, next up, let's do this piece right here, piece number 4. So for that one, instead of just extruding, this one has a bit more of a complicated geometry. It's not just a straight cylinder, it's like rounded and then goes in. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to use the Fusion 360 Revolve feature. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go into my sketch again, and instead of making the sketch on the bottom, I'm going to do it on the side this time. And then right here, I'm just going to bring this up about this much. And if you can imagine, what I'm about to do is revolve a sketch around the center line. So if I were to like make a square right here, or a rectangle, and revolve it around the center line, then it would make a cylinder. So after I have the center line done, I'm going to go back, look at the shape. So if you can imagine, the side profile of this looks a bit more like looks like that, and then I have a cylinder down here. So I'm going to try and make this shape in Fusion 360. Alright, so bring it out, and then going to curve it down, and then curve it outwards, and then curve it in a little. That should be good. Now, you want to make sure that when you're done doing this, you got to close off the shape. Since you can see here, it's open and it's wide inside, and once I add this bottom line and I close it off, it should be blue. Alright. Now, once I have this done, I'm just going to finish the sketch, and I'm going to revolve this around the center line. So you can see it already selected the profile for me. And if it didn't, then what you gotta do is you just click on this for your profile, and then I have to select my axis. And just as an example, like if I select this axis, it's gonna rotate around this way, and that's not what I want. I just press the X in the corner, and then select the one I do want, which is the center axis. Alright, so now we have this shape, and I'm just gonna click OK. Alright, it looks pretty good, pretty good. So now that we have our number 5, or our number 4, I'm going to do this middle section. Now, another tool I want to show you in Fusion 360 is the loft tool. So I'm actually going to do a different design than the pawn we have right here. Because if you see right here, it's almost a little bit of an incline upwards. It's not exactly just a flat pawn. So I'm going to create an offset plane, and basically what this is we already have these 3 planes that we can construct off of, but like let's say I want to make a sketch all the way over here. I can't just make a sketch on this plane. So I have to make an offset plane and bring it all the way over here so that I can have my sketch over here. And the way that we're going to use that is I'm going to create an offset plane above what we already have, the 4th piece. So I'm going to bring it about 3 millimeters upwards, and then now we can create a sketch not just on the bottom of our thing, but also on top of our piece. And if I look at this, a little bit of an incline that goes inwards. It's not very large, so I'm just going to guesstimate about that's 18 millimeters, so I'll just bring it to probably 15. Looks about right. And then the tool I want to show you is the loft tool. So if I just take this, I can loft it up here. And you might be asking, why not just use revolve for this? And the thing is, you can use revolve for this. Revolve would actually work here. You just have to go to the side profile and then make a straight line and then revolve it. But this also works pretty well. Alright, so now that we have this done, this loft done, that is our piece 3.5. So now we can move on to the 3rd piece. And again, I think I can just, should just be able to revolve this. Do this with a revolve. So I'm going to create a sketch again on that side profile, and then do a revolve. That looks like a bit of a mushroom shape. So you can see that it's not exactly straight, and it takes on a bit more of a mushroom shape. So I'm going to go up. And this is the main height for our pawn too, so I want to make this a little bit taller. Let's go up about 20. And you can see here, instead of just dragging it up, I can also just type 20 in here. So let's go up by 2 centimeters and then go out. I'm going to say 4 seems pretty good. Yeah, 4 seems good. So I can bring it out by 4 and then create a curve downward with this spline tool. And let's see if it actually connects. No, it doesn't. So bring it like here. Seems like a good connection point. Go back to our straight line tool, and now we have our curve. So let's finish our sketch again, and then we can revolve this around the center axis to get our next one. Now let's say instead of joining this, I use one of the other ones. So let's just try new body, right? New body, what that does is this makes this a completely separate thing. So if I were to just do join, I would only have one body, since these two, this piece and this piece would combine, since they're connected. But if I were to put new body, then now I have two bodies, because it just doesn't combine after I revolve it. And what I would do here is I would just use combine and put these two shapes together. Alright, so apart from that, that is our next piece done. And we have two more. So this third piece is done, and I have piece 2. So let's go take a look at the geometry of that. So this is almost like a rounded cylinder, right? And so I'm just going to create a sketch on top of this plane. And this is another cool thing you can do in Fusion 360. Instead of just making an offset plane right here and then bring it up or down, I can literally just make a sketch on top of this flat surface. As long as it's a flat surface, I can just make a sketch on it. Alright, so let's do maybe 20. Or maybe 15. Yeah, 15 seems about right. Finish sketch, and then extrude it upwards. Let's just go 3 millimeters. Alright, but if we take a look back at the pawn, we realize that it's not exactly just a straight cylinder. It's a bit rounded as well. So how will I fix that? Well, I can go into up here, and there's actually a fillet tool. And what this does is it makes edges rounded. So if I just use it on this edge, you can see it makes it way rounder. And I can select two things with this fillet tool. So I'm just going to select these two and push them back. About 2 millimeters there. You can see it's pretty good, pretty rounded. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Alright, that's our next piece done. And this is already one body, you can see. Since on that last extrusion, I made it join instead of new body. Alright. Now we just have this last piece. So this circle at the top, or sphere, sorry. And there's a few different ways that I can do this. So I want to make use of that tool I was talking about earlier, which is the join tool, the combine tool that I was talking about. So let's say I just make a sphere all on my own. I want to make like a cool little design sphere. So let's just make it 20 millimeters. And then how about like I put a little bit of a design before I revolve this, since I'm going to use a revolve on this. So how about I do like something like this, like a spike on it, so that when it revolves it'll look a little cooler. Alright, so I'm just going to finish my sketch and then use my revolve tool. And you realize that I can use two different, I can select more than one profile on my revolve, but only one axis. So now that I revolve that, you can see, oh wow, it's got that little thing that I put in for the triangle. And that actually looks pretty cool, I like that. Alright, so I'm going to finish revolving that, and it's just going to be a separate body, since it's not connected from what I have for the pawn already. Now, how am I going to connect these two things? Well, the first thing I have to do is move this sphere to this body. So if I just use the move tool up here, I need to first select my sphere. And there's a few different points at which I can select it, but I want to select it at the middle, and I'll show you why in a second. Right? So now once I have this selected, I can move it around, use all these different tools. I can rotate it. So you can see that piece rotate. I can rotate it this way, I can rotate it this way, and yeah. But I don't want to do any of that. I just want to move this sphere up here. So the way that I'm going to do that is I could use these axes and I could just try and pull it over, but this is kind of inaccurate. Like, I don't really know if this is exactly centered on top. So the way that I am going to do it is with the point-to-point move. And what that means is, let's say I select one point at the center of my sphere. and that's my origin point. So you can see right there, there's a little plus, and that is my origin point. And I can have this snap really to any point I want. So now I'm selecting my second point. You can see there's a little square or a little cross right there. And if I click there, the sphere moves down there. So all I have to do is just click on this circle, and you can see the little plus again. And that's going to reset my target point to this point. But oh no, like it's completely overlapped of my second disk thing. So what do? Well, after I moved it from point to point, I can still translate it. So I just have to switch from the point to point tool to my translate tool. And if I bring this up, that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to press OK. Now if I try and move my pawn around, you can see that it only moves one part, and that's because the sphere and this base part aren't connected. So the last thing I have to do is press combine, and then combine this part and this part together, and I should get a whole pawn. Now I'm going to compare this to what we saw in the images, and wow, that actually looks pretty convincing for a pawn. Looks pretty good. So yeah, that's how you make a pawn in Fusion 360, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, make sure to save your files when you're making them, because you don't want to lose all this progress. Yeah, so look at that nice old pawn. It's got a little bit of a flare thing going on. And it's done saving, so I can go ahead, close Fusion, do whatever I need to do, and when I'm ready, I can 3D print it as well.